My name is Gary Goltz, and I live in Camarillo, California, just outside of the Los Angeles area. And I'm a private pilot with a multi-engine instrument rating. I've got around 1,300 hours total time. The airplane that I was flying, it was a Beechcraft Baron, a 1973 model that I had just purchased from a surgeon who lived in Florida. I guess this was my third leg. It was the final leg, actually, from Casa Grande, Arizona, to my home base of Camarillo, California, which is relatively a short flight in a Baron, about 2 hours. A beautiful day and still cool in the morning. There's not a cloud in the sky, and it's fairly normal departure from Casa Grande altitude airport at an altitude of probably around 2,500 feet. I was climbing out through about 4,000, 4,500 feet when I noticed kind of a big bird off and kind of up to the right. I thought, gosh, it was unusual, and it kind of whizzed by pretty quickly. And then within about, a second or two of seeing that bird, another bird actually hit the windshield. It hit kind of up in the upper right corner above the co-pilot area. And there was a large kind of explosion. The window completely, shattered, and the bird came into the cockpit and hit me on the right side of my face. But the bird, kind of went by and ended up in the hatch shelf. I was immediately blinded. I could not see out of the right eye. It probably just swelled up. But I couldn't see well in my left eye either because my sunglasses had been torn off. I was wearing a hat and a headset, and they'd also flown off. So it was pretty hard to see. And what I remember is there was a tremendous amount of noise now outside, coming in. There wasn't a lot of wind, but there was a tremendous amount of noise. And my first reaction was that, oh my gosh, I'm going to, crash into a hill or something, because I was actually climbing up a beam, some maybe 5,000 foot peaks. I immediately pulled the power back, leveled the airplane off, and then I kind of looked around and I go like, well, it's still flying and I'm not dying, and although my eye was swollen, I felt kind of okay. There was just a big surge of adrenaline. The scariest part was not being able to see. I mean, my biggest fear really is afterwards, like a heart attack, because I was so excited, or would I be able to actually see a place to land? I was thinking, well, I may have to just land in the desert somewhere. I had no idea if I would actually be able to see the airport. Kind of the second thing I did is pretty quickly I said, well, I'm going to go back to the Casa Grande airport. I turned back to kind of generally what direction I thought it was. I was on the Casa Grande Unicom frequency, and I called, told everyone in the area, said, stay clear of the area. I'm returning to land. I've suffered a bird strike, and everybody get out of the way because I can't really see very well. And I changed the frequency to 121.5. And I remember calling Albuquerque Center, and I gave them a mayday. They were talking to me, but I just couldn't hear them. The noise still outside, even with the power pulled back, the noise outside was deafening. I just wanted them to clear the area again if there's anybody around, because like I said, I couldn't see outside enough to avoid an airplane. I was fiddling with the GPS to put in the Casa Grande identifier and get the GPS to help me back, and I engaged the autopilot just to keep the airplane level. And about that time, the cover on the glare shield came up and totally blocked the windshield, and I could not see out the windshield. And was able to kind of take one of my hands and just tear out the glare shield. And the second it came loose, it actually got sucked out the front window and left. I was able to put in the identifier and hit the direct button, and by getting really close to the Garmin 430, I could see the magenta line that pointed the direction of the airport. I couldn't have been more than 5 miles away from the airport. I saw the airport. It was really easy to see, actually, even with my poor vision, because it was it's a very deserty area with no trees. And the runway was dark asphalt. And I remember going like, well, I have one shot at this, although I don't know that that was true. I didn't want to certainly go around. And I cut the power, and I did a fairly steep left bank and got the airplane on the ground. I pulled over in front of the FBO building, shut down the airplane, and got out and touched on my hand and shoulder and face, just the eye that's swollen shut. And they took me away to Phoenix, which was about a 60-mile drive. And I would remember calling my wife and from the ambulance and saying, "Well, I had a little incident, and I'll call you in a little bit." I ended up staying at the hospital overnight. They kind of looked at the eye and they said, "Well, I think it's going to heal. You just got blood in your eye, and eventually that'll go away and clear up, and you'll be able to see, and everything will be fine." One of the things that I learned from this is fly the airplane no matter what. Just keep flying it. I think it's smart to have a spare set of glasses and a front map pocket so you can get it quickly. 5-6 years earlier, and I saw a Cessna 310 that had a goose go through the front windshield, and and I saw the windshield broken, and coming down and landing. He wasn't injured at all. It helped to have seen that. And so in my mind, I think I'd thought through, what do you do if it happens to you? I think people just hearing the story and puts it in their mind that will, help them. And just because if you think about it and you know that you can survive it, that you can keep flying the airplane, I think that's good for people to know.